Hello and welcome to the next lesson. This time, as you see, I did some previous sketches about what I consider could work as final characters. From those, I chose one that I decided to represent later, generating a series of features inside the illustration like the faces, the morphologic differences according to sex, and some details like, for example, its babies, other small details like hands, etc. We have here both male and female representations. We can see here a bigger detail on the female. Here I decided to color it, etc. Those are features that I want you to consider so you get an idea of the results I want you to get. And since it's kind of a concept art, we're going to focus on the features we said we were going to make. And well, we're going to start with the first one. The first one was a nocturnal aerial animal-shaped alien. So, as I was saying in the previous lesson, the aerial animals I decided to represent should be similar to birds. So, either we can take references from the internet or maybe play around with memory and try to draw a bird. This way, what we're going to do is be more original when working with the drawing. And what we can do is develop much more interesting characters since the proportions they would have wouldn't be the same and they would stay in a different way. Because of this, we're going to try this way, and if we can't, well, we'll use the references and that's it. The small image of a person there is just for height reference of the alien compared with a human. Okay, so I'd like to do something like a predator. So what I chose is an owl as the aerial part of the alien. And then I also decided to use a bat as a second element to take as a reference for developing. So here we have the birds I want to take as an example, a barn owl and a true owl. And I chose those because they're nocturnal birds of prey, and since they're predators, they have a series of features more appropriated to the nocturnal predator alien that I want to depict. Or for example, they have very big eyes, the claws, the beak, etc. And as I was saying, the last reference here would be a bat, from which I liked quite a lot the wings and the big ears. And well, what I wanted to tell you is that in comparison, since they're two nocturnal animals from different species, what we get is different features to develop. Because as I was saying, in the case of the owls, one of their features are the eyes. They have very, very big eyes compared with the ear. In the case of the bat, what we have is very small eyes, but those are compensated with the ears because they're quite big. So what I'm going to do is get the features I like the most from each species and apply them to my illustration. For example, as a small detail, the subject of the ear of these birds is more hidden, and because of that I can't take much reference. So I'm going to choose exaggerating these little details we have on the animals I'm taking as a reference, like the eyes. I'm going to draw many eyes, and as I've been saying in the previous lesson, we have to exaggerate these features. So if we stumble upon more extremities with more eyes, more ears, more tails, more mouths, well, the more we can exaggerate a species, the better. In this case, what I'll do is start from the structure of an owl in order to then include some of the bat's features. For example, the small eyes that cover most of the skull, and then I chose the beak of the barn owl. And, well, if you notice, I decided to divide the skull in 3 parts, like maybe the example I showed you at the beginning of Predator, in which the mouth opens and expands in a very peculiar way. In the case of the wings, I decided to use the ones from the bat. So this way, I bring a bit more originality to this. Nevertheless, the bat's wings will be covered by the owl's feathers. I'm going to make it a bit smaller so I can finish the drawing properly. The wing over here. I'm going to draw here the owl's leg. And well, it's just that, it's innovating. In this case, it's trying to make a hybrid or actually an alien. Though you can also apply the same technique to develop some kind of monster or being that we can imagine. So, why am I going to call it alien? Well, it's a different race that I decided to create, and we're going to suppose it lives in a place with very low light. And well, it could be a main predator, because I decided so, basically. There's no evidence to say it's an alien. Simply we find certain features and certain traits that offers us some more basis when creating them. We have here, for example, I'm going to draw it with the mouth open so you can see different details of the species we just created. You have to consider it in the project. We have to create some kind of perspective of the alien we're drawing, or maybe an expression or a gesture that shows that we have a bit of notions about how the species we're developing is being shaped. For example, here it is joining, and you can see perfectly how the mouth breaks into different zones and has those 3 corners that join in the first drawing I did. The other 3 hide inside the first one. Okay, we have this side here, and now I'm going to make the full side view of the owl. Well, I don't know how to call it, but this alien now I'm going to draw it with the mouth open. As you can see from the bat, I also took the ears, which are very big, and here it is like sizzling or emitting whatever sound it emits in a slightly more aggressive aspect that it can look like. So this would be it here. We're going to present a smaller and more general structure here so we can compare it with the human. It would be like this, a front view. And, well, as I already told you, it has the front appearance of, well, the structure could be mostly an owl's. Then you can apply different deformations that can allow you to create something more detailed. Right now, what I want you to see is that you can create these with the minimum resources you want to present. And then you have the option of trying not to base the drawing in an animal that much, but maybe break your brains in that sense and start from scratch to get something much more complex and not able to be related with something that we see daily, so to speak. And that makes our work easier. Well, since we have the resource, I don't think anybody will recriminate us. And well, I remind you, you also have Pinterest in case you want to see something more about alien-themed character design. And well, this would be the final structure of the owl with the divided head, the ears, etc. I hope you liked this lesson and that it was useful, and we're going to go on to the next alien. See you in the next one.